Sorry for the disruption. Disruption is the only way, and this is going to happen. I think not only digital disruption, but pandemic also one disruption. Tsunami is another disruption, and
Yeah.
digital probably. I was talking about driverless cars. When cars, when you are going in the office with the driverless car and in the main, crowdy area, and again the IT experts will put some virus and all cars will be standing, idle, and you can't come out and you can't go to the office, you will be in between. So those problems are going to come. Disruption is the only way, and either you get disrupted or you disrupt others. So that is where in this engineering education, what I was talking about is pedagogy, what we are teaching for mechanical engineering. As I was talking about Maruti, one car is having a 14,000 components. Now each component maybe five, six vendors, lakhs of vendors are going to be on the road. They will lose their job because now 3D printing has come. Just 200 components are good enough to print the car. Similarly, construction equipment, construction material, so many equipment and material, one can print in 8 hours, one can two bedroom kitchen can be made, 3D printed house. And this is a kind of construction technology is coming, and how to incorporate this futuristic aspect in our engineering curriculum, that is going to play important role. So that is where how to get into a sense making, sixth sense is going to play important role. And that is where I was giving the example of our for delivery, the way a rural women used to play a very very significant role when there were no gynecologist. Very safe delivery without operation, without spoiling the health, they used to do. It is because of the sixth sense, because of the Indian traditional knowledge. So that is where future belongs to Indian traditional knowledge. Future belongs to sense making. Future belongs to perpetual learners. And that is where future also belongs to the one who captured the technology as a first, who captured the technology in the last, they are going to thrown out of this disruptive world. Somebody has rightly said that the illiterate of the 21st century are the ones, not that those who don't read and write, they are the one, those who can't understand the new generation skills, those who can't understand the technology, those who can't understand the IoT, AI, they are going to be illiterates of the 21st century. So that is where the how to capture the technology first and how to build the growth mindset in the student is extremely important. And that is where the new education policy talking about how to capture the futuristic. My guru, Professor Pritam Singh, always used to say, a fool look at the present and wise look at the future. So you all have to be very wise. You have to look at the future, not the present. So what you act today, tomorrow results are going to come. So that is very, very beautifully somebody has said, yesterday of tomorrow is today. So yesterday of tomorrow is today means if you act today, tomorrow you get the beautiful result. And then you stand up in the crowd and all others will follow and you will become a leader. So that is why how to position our engineering institution as a leader. NEP is the best foundation. NEP is the best tool, or it is the Bible, I must say, to take our institution to higher level, because students are learning, faculty members are learning, and future belongs to smart universities, smart engineering colleges. All universities are going to be smart. Physically, you can't see the universities, big building and lot of workshops, all those things probably you may not see. Virtual, everything will be virtual, maybe virtual laboratories, and even all the things, intangible, because we already moved from tangible, industry era to intelligence era. Intelligence era is full of intangibilities. You can't see, for example, a DBS Bank of Singapore. Physically, nobody knows where the bank is there, but entire world get the benefit of that bank. Best of the best services. Outcomes are extremely good, but nobody can see the bank. That is a digital bank, fully digital bank, and that is the role model for rest of the world. Shingai Saab come from the electrical background. Electricity, you can't see the electricity, but you can you can burn, you can get the light, and you can get the result. Same a future intelligence era, you are going to get the best result. And industrial era, you used to see everything, but you can't see, but you can see the outcome. You can't see actual process, you can see the end. Intelligence era. So how to incorporate those kind of processes in your engineering education for computer science, cloud computing, or 3D printing, or IoT, artificial intelligence, application of AI, how to get into that, that's going to play important. And that is where NEP talks about one has to carry out responsible research. Whatever the research till now, we have done many research. Normally those who are considered as a top class research, A star, whatever we say, that star, those publications are assumption or assumption or assumption. If you publish, its practical value is zero. It is a nonsense research, one can say in a simple word. It is a crude word I am using, but responsible research is the one which has an impact on society, impact on community, impact on policy making, impact on business, or impact on government. So unless until the research has impact on these 4-5 areas, that research has no meaning. Research for nation building is going to play important role. That is how NEP talks about, national research foundations. That is where what I'm telling is government of India has come out with the NRF. First time in the history of India, NRF is coming because somebody has predicted very beautifully, coming 2022 to 23, China is going to take over GDP of America. It is not good news for India. It may be good news for China. China is going to be number one as far as GDP volume is concerned, and America will lose number one status and it will be for number two. But very great news predicted by many of the international agencies are 2035, India is going to beat both these GDPs of China and America. 2035, India is going to lead the world. भारत का मुट्ठी में complete दुनिया रहेगा 2035 में, and I am sure at that time expectation from citizen of India is much more from all the responsible people like you while heading the engineering institutions or working as a great professors in engineering colleges. You will be having a larger responsibility, larger expectation because you are leading the world. So in such kind of situation, India will lead only when we are great in R&D. अभी तक आप दुनिया में देखिए, unless until you are going to be best in R&D, you cannot lead the world. Japan led the world 80 to 85 because Japan was great in R&D. Sony से लेके manufacturing से लेके construction equipment तक, everything Japan succeeded because Japan, all of you know that Japan is known for great teamwork. All of you know that Japan, it is known for very frequent earthquakes. But Japan, there are no natural resources. There is no market. But Japan is known for people management. Managing the people. In engineering college, any professional, how to manage the organization, manage the people is extremely important. Japanese, they get the raw material from outside, they manufacture the product and they sell outside the Japan. Entire globe they made as a market, and entire globe they take the raw material and they produce only in Japan and sell it to rest of the world with highest quality and lowest price. It is possible because of the teamwork, because in Japan 2 plus 2 is not 4, it is 2 plus 2 is 2222. They create a synergy. So that is where it's extremely important how to work in a team is going to play important role, going to make a difference. When India is going to lead 2035 to the world, by the time we have to have a great R&D, and engineering colleges particularly going to play a very, very significant role for new product, R&D product, which entire world will be dependent on India. And that is where, unless until we play a significant role in R&D, and becoming a global leader is a very, very challenging task. If you look at China, 1980, China, Shanghai was smaller than Mumbai. Mumbai was little bigger than Shanghai. Shanghai was financial capital of China and Mumbai was financial capital of India. But today, Shanghai became a global capital and Mumbai remained an Indian financial capital. Shanghai also became a global manufacturing hub. Global manufacturing means all foreign direct investment went to China, and then there is a rule that you have to employ local people, and Chinese are known for unethically stealing the technology and transferring the technology locally. And today, China produces the lowest, low cost but better quality product to the world. Even if you want to celebrate Ganesha, Ganesh Chaturthi is coming very soon. We get the Ganesh statue prepared by Chinese. They never worship, but we buy the Ganesh from China. You can imagine how Chinese, every product, every aspect of everybody's life, Chinese product is affecting, because Chinese succeeded in R&D. Maybe unethical practice is not good, but they are far ahead of India as far as R&D product is concerned, and engineering colleges have to focus on R&D product. And that is where National Research Foundation, and you may be very happy to know that this year our finance minister dedicated fund kept 50,000 crores rupees have been kept for NRF, National Research Foundation. I think most of the engineering college should make benefit out of it, and we should have patent, we should have R&D product, we should have impact of research. So that is where National Research Foundation is going to make a mark, and everyone has opportunity to utilize the fund, develop a product, and our local product should go to local, and finally from local it should go to the global. So local to global, whatever our Prime Minister says, local and global. So that is going to possible through NRF, and NRF is a very, very important step Government of India has taken to give huge fund for National Research Foundation. So research is going to play important role, and we need to focus, and every university, engineering college, they have to play three important role: knowledge creation, knowledge dissemination, knowledge application. So knowledge creation is nothing but research, and knowledge dissemination means teaching the students. Application means we have to carry out number of consultancy and industry project to the corporate world. So having said this, now if you come to multidisciplinary approach, how to make a holistic human being. Multidisciplinary approach, if you look at mechatronics, mechanical engineering, maybe somebody might be there. Mechatronics is a subject. It is a two mother areas. One is mechanical, one is electronics. Together is a mechatronics. If you see, mechatronics is the one where it is a transdisciplinary. One is a mechanical, one is electronics. Together we call it as a transdisciplinary. And if you look at, I am person, you might be knowing I am a civil engineer. My all education is in engineering, but I am heading the management institution. Now, management education in India, if you take that, there are people coming from psychology, people coming from economics, people coming from engineering, people coming from commerce background, people coming from humanities, liberal art, all kinds of streams. They will come together. Then we give a degree MBA. It is called as an interdisciplinary. And now in new education policy, the word used is multidisciplinary. I told transdisciplinary. Biomedical is a transdisciplinary. Medical and biotechnology together, it is a transdisciplinary. Mechatronics is a transdisciplinary. Management education is a interdisciplinary. Then what is multidisciplinary? People interchangeably use transdisciplinary, multidisciplinary, and interdisciplinary. But multidisciplinary is a very, very unique field. Multidisciplinary means you are going to see the one object in two different multiple perspectives you are going to see. For example, again I will give you an example of mechanical engineering. For example, the engine is there, or mechanical engineering for some you want to reduce the cost. Now to reduce the cost, either you have to improve the design of engine, or you have to improve the fuel efficiency. Now, if you improve the one perspective is you are teaching the students improving the fuel efficiency so that you can reduce the cost. Second perspective is you have to redesign the engine with the newer technology. Then probably you can reduce the cost. So for reducing the cost, you are going to see the same thing in two perspectives. Similarly, you are going to see the Indian GDP from two perspectives. One is economical perspective, one is a manufacturing perspective. So like that, you are going to see the same thing in different perspectives. It means our faculty members, those who are teaching engineering, they have to broaden their horizon, not pure mechanical, pure civil, pure electronics, pure computer, or pure chemicals. What I want to say is, for example, fluid mechanics. Fluid mechanics is taught by civil engineering professors for second year students. Mechanical engineering also taught of fluid mechanics. Now, mechanical engineering perspective, fluid mechanics, and civil engineering perspective, fluid mechanics. Or structural engineering, designs. Mechanical, there is a design, and civil also structural design. So how you teach the structure from mechanical perspective and from civil engineering perspective or applied mechanic perspective. So these are called as a multidisciplinary approach. So how to see the things from different lenses? That आप naked eye से देख सकते हैं, different lenses से, if you go to the eye checkup, you put so many lenses and you see so many views. Same way, multidisciplinary means you are going to see the things in different lenses. For example, I am a management person. I can see as a institution director, I can see one lens. But I will see my management curriculum from the perspective of the corporate CEO. CEO use his own lens to see my curriculum, whether to hire my students or not. Similarly, vendor perspective. Similarly, for the buyer perspective. So different lenses you have to see. Not only seeing, you also hear the things from different ears. So whatever we do, somebody else will see. For example, I am teaching a particular course. So that course, industry perspective, what industry say about the course, what customers say about the course, what users say about the course, what teachers say about the course. These are all the multiple perspectives. How to teach the course from the multiple perspectives. So multidisciplinary is all about the magic of seeing the things from, seeing and hearing the things from different perspectives. Otherwise, then if you started seeing and hearing, from different ears and different eyes, if you are seeing the perspective, then you broaden your horizon from very, from mean minded, we focus to the broad minded. Then this is how holistic human being. You start looking the world from global perspective, from local to global perspective. And that is how NEP talks about global citizenship. NEP talks about planning. NEP talks about sustainable development goals. Sustainable development, four sustainable development goal out of 17, four belongs to education. All the four are taken into account in NEP 2020. So NEP 2020. So therefore, holistic perspective, as a global citizen, you are broadening your perspective. You can see the things from the customer perspective, from the manufacturer perspective, from the teacher perspective, from the user perspective. That is, we call it as a multidisciplinary approach. I hope this is what expected. So it is not that people from chemical and mechanical coming together and they will do their role. A person who is a chemical engineer, he can see the thing from mechanical perspective. Hydrocarbon business, oil and gas business. So you need amalgamation of chemical and mechanical. And many areas, hydropower, hydraulics, you need a civil and you need a mechanical, turbines, mechanical. And if you also hydropower, it is again a common subject. So how can you see from civil perspective, mechanical perspective, how to bring together? Today we have silos of civil engineering, mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, electronics engineering, computer science engineering, IT, and to name a few, textile engineering. How to break the silo and bring the cross-functional team, CFT, multiple perspective, multiple people will be teaching the students so that we can broaden the horizon and we can build them as a global citizen. We can build them as a, a holistic perspective. And this is how we build a character. And building a character is such a thing that a greed will disappear only they look at the want. If you see many thousands of years back, when there were no cities a human being used to live in a forest with all other animals, all other living beings. So that at that time, human being, people were partnering with the other living beings, animals, insects, all kinds of living being. We used to partner in those days. We used to live in jungle, forest. But later on, the European, they brought the concept called industrialization. People started living on the banks of rivers. Then human being became a dominant among the living being, and then we sidelined all the living beings, and we started exploited the planet as well as living beings. Now we have not stopped there. Not only exploited the living being, other living being, then we started exploiting human being itself. Developed countries, developing countries, third world countries, and those five nations, 80% of the natural resources have been destroyed by, Germany, Japan, America, UK, all these five nations, France, they have 80% of the global West is created by them. And the rest of the human being, we are all suffering ozone, climate change, and lot of issues, whatever today we are talking about. 1.75 times of the natural resources have been already utilized by us. So future generation natural resources already were used. And that is where the United Nations, yes, the sustainable development goals have come into picture. So that is where it is extremely important how to broaden the perspective, how to become a global citizenship, how to build a character. These are the genesis came into new education policy. That is why India wants to be Vishwaguru once again, like Nalanda and Taxila. It is only possible if you see the globe as my home. You see, globe is my ownership, my responsibility. That is how global responsibility, global citizenship, and Mother Earth planet, and also seeing not only ourselves, but as I told you, future, many generation of future should also enjoy the natural resources the way we are enjoying. All my distinguished professors, I traveled 29 countries. When I was in Finland, I have been told in the month of November, they say that 9 months there is only night and you can only see the sunlight in 3 months. I said, I am very lucky I born in India because almost 12 hours of day and night. When I went to Europe and UK, when I went there in the hotel Vienna, I was there and my professor says that this is that, and I went in January 5th, and it was too much cold, and all the roads are full of ice, it is white, and then the machines used to come and take out the ice. And I went to the hotel, and inside the hotel there are so many pipes, and all pipes were heated to maintain the room temperature. I said, what is this? Said, sir, we spend 25% of energy more for heating the houses. So you can imagine what kind of country this is. Daytime you are spending so much of electricity for heating the rooms, and outside so much of cold. Inside you are creating a artificial temperature rise. So then again I thought, I am a lucky person born in India, because we are not such a adverse temperature. If you go to Canada, again, people live in ice. So if you go to New Zealand, there is no population at all. So if you go to different countries, all kind of adversities they are there, and we are that way. We are very lucky. We are blessed with solar. We are blessed with day and night. We are blessed with all those kinds of the natural resources, and that is how it is very easy to position India as a global leader. And NEP, as the right time it has come. And I was talking to some of the international counterpart from Germany, USA. They said, we are also very keen and deep studying NEP 2020. Probably we may adopt part of the NEP 2020 in our own country. So entire globe is looking with hope, looking this as a gold standard. And if we don't execute and implement properly, probably somebody else will snatch and they will become a great. The way our Ayurveda has gone to Germany, and now Germans have made a patent in Ayurveda. It is our product, our original traditional knowledge we lost, and now we are getting a product, Ayurveda product from Germany. Probably education sector, we should not give it this opportunity to anybody else. Each one of us strive hard to become a Vishwaguru, and India can become a global education hub. and NEP 2020 is going to play important role. And that is how we have to see from all the perspective, and that is what multidisciplinary approach is all about. We have to change the way we teach. We should not look into PowerPoint. We should not look into the bookworm. We should not question everything and make the students to trigger. And thinking up thinking, learning up learn. These are the two important principles in NEP 2022. Thinking about thinking or thinking up thinking, learning to learn. So students should learn on their own and think on their own. Everything they should question and think and broaden their horizon and see the world from different lenses. That is one important principle. Now, there is another third component. Let me talk about this. It is all about the ABC, academic banking of credit. ABC. So it is academic banking of credit means now the world is changing. Now today is a collaborative world. Today is a networking world. So students can multiple entry, multiple exit, they can go to the corporate world and come back to the education with some knowledge. They can take some more courses, get the certificate, go back to industry, come back, and some more study. 1 year they may get diploma. Again, they may come back and they may get the degree after fulfilling the credit. That is multiple entry and multiple exit. But I must tell you, people may say that, it is theoretical, easy to say, but difficult to implement. I must tell you, I was 2011 working with Strathclyde University, Glasgow, Strathclyde University, 2011, Netherlands. This is a common practice. People going from industry and they will bank their credit in the university. Once a sufficient credits are accumulated, they will be given certificate or diploma or degree. It is common in the European countries, already exist. We were rigid, and all of you know that earlier our education was rigid, and rigidity, stupidity, all of you agree. And now in engineering, we have to bring the agility. We have to bring the flexibility, because it is a fluid world. So fluid world in the sense disruption is happening very often. And I always say disruption means old is not dead and new is not born. We are always in transition. The moment disruption happens, we try to get into newer skill, newer role. And the moment we are developing expertise, some disruption happens again. We have to move from that learning to something else. So that is why always we are in a transition stage. For example, our generation, probably Chawla Saab and Shingai Saab and my generation, we are listened to our parents, we are listening to our kids. But in future, our kids are very sure they are going to listen the younger generation. They call it as a reverse learning. But our generation is in transition, and this exactly, we are always going to be in transition. Old is not dead and new is not born, and we keep on learning and leaving it and learning. So that is why learning, unlearning and new learning, skilling, reskilling, upskilling, these are going to be the common phenomena. Lifelong learning is the only way we can lead this fluid world. I call it as a fluid world because it is changing like a water. So that is where in this kind of fluid world, in engineering, I can find, I am a civil engineer. I did my all education in engineering. I can see there is a, comparing to other streams, engineering, more rigidity is there. We should get out of the rigidity. We should get into fluidity. And that is how we can lead the world. We can bring the engineering education at the global standard. Probably a global standard will become a gold standard, and rest of the world will follow our engineering education. If you practice NEP, we plan well and execute well, probably we can be the number one. So those who planned, never executed, they failed. Those who executed without planning, they failed. So we have to do both planning and execution in such a way that we can establish a gold standard for global level in engineering education. And that is what, it is not going to be engineering. Every engineering college is going to have a humanities and arts and science and liberal art. A student have to learn other than engineering. I was working as a director at IIM Trichy. Once I was invited Shastra University in Tanjore. I went there and I was taken to the round, and I was told that 20 courses they teach, because it was an engineering college. Later on it became university. They teach every student, irrespective of what branch of engineering they are there, every students undergo a 20 courses which are nothing to do with engineering. I said, what is this? What are these courses? They said, sir, we teach a moral education. We teach a value foundation to the student, and that is required for every student. It is for life skill. It is to live the life, Engineering courses teach how to make money, how to get into a life, but how to make a life, how to live a life, then you need those 20 moral skills, 20 courses which teach other than engineering, but they are very essential for live a happy life. And that is what holistic human being is all about. I went to another college, in Trichy, there is a institute called, they call one institute started 1951. Two Muslim leaders started that college, Jamal Muhammad College. So that Jamal Muhammad College, after the inauguration, they took a round of college and they showed, sir, this building is built by Singapore Jamaat. Jamaat means alumni. This building is built by Indonesian Jamaat. This building is built by, Dubai Jamaat. They said so many buildings, 50% of the building in that Jamal Muhammad College built by alumni. Then I said, how come alumni gave so much to the institution? Then they said, sir, since inception, our founders made a point that irrespective of arts, commerce, science, management, any branch of engineering science, every student have to go to moral education. We taught them moral education, and that is why they know how to give back to the society, how to give back to the alma mater. And that is how NEP precisely talks about giving back to the society and how to help the people and how to be a great human being helping other peoples and the society. And this is how a profit comes in the end, and people are the first and planet is the first. People, planet first. That kind of mindset they are built. And the best example, I worked in BITS Pilani, 2000 to 2005, multidisciplinary. People from biology can get the computer science job in BITS Pilani. He may not be getting computer science branch, but he may get into biology. But he can get the job of computer science because he will do those core courses, and rest all Janta courses from any branch, any university, any department he can do, and he or she can be a great computer science. I have seen in BITS Pilani, it is known for interdisciplinary, it is known for multidisciplinary, and attendance is not mandatory. It is a unique kind of institution, already part of NEP. If you want to see how to practice, probably one should visit BITS Pilani. I was lucky to work over there. So many examples in India, bits and pieces are there, NEP evidences. And now it is all of us how to implement NEP, and each one of you are the responsible, great teacher in this country, and the Nobel profession in the country or anywhere in the world is a teacher, and we are all teachers, and we know how to practice, we know how to effectively implement, and that is where low hanging fruits which can be easily implementable NEP, you should go and start implement. You should not wait for AICT to give direction. You should not wait for UGC to give direction. You should not wait for anybody to tell. You should go and implement the things which are possible, because in coming 20 years, NEP has to be implemented in toto, and engineering students also have to learn moral education, liberal arts, and music. As a institute of eminence, I sometime back, I visited 2 years back, other university. And second year students there, they can change, engineering students can specialize. Along with one engineering, he or she can specialize in economics. So those kind of multiple specialization one can do. This is how, it is going to be a multidisciplinary, and it is every student can achieve their dream through NEP. It is not that institution will achieve its vision and mission. Every university will achieve vision and mission. Same way, every students, they will achieve their dream through NEP. It is very important point I'm making. NEP makes every students to achieve their dreams. Same way, institution achieve their vision and mission. Every students in the university, they will pursue their vision to be a great citizen of the world, not only India, but a great citizen of the world. With this, once again, thank you very much, R.S. Chawla Saab and Professor Shingai, for inviting me for this webinar, this Atal, addressing NEP. And with this, once again, I wish all the distinguished participants good luck, and I wish all the great, luck each one of you for implementation of NEP 2020, and again the great institute, Government Engineering College Bilaspur under the leadership of Professor R.S. Chawla. I am sure this is going to be a role model for many of you to implement NEP. With this, thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, there might be few questions, sir.
Yeah.
There might be few questions, so 5 minutes, please. Spare.
Okay. Just okay. I can one or two.
Yes, sir. Indrani, please be very brief for some questions if they are.
Yes, sir. So I request all the participants to join the discussion and ask questions. They can either raise hands or post question in WhatsApp group.
Sir, Mehta Sahib is
Yes,
there.
sir. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for such a wonderful talk. Our many participants, they had queries related to credits, that is bank of credit you told, majors and minors. Kindly tell us in brief about that too.
So, yeah, you see, academic banking of credit means there is a repository will be made and all those credits are deposited over there. Suppose somebody can do a course or part of it, say, some of the institutions, say, Bhopal or Jabalpur Engineering College, or somebody can do one course in NIT Trichy, somebody can do one in MNIT Jaipur. So those all credits are banked on that particular candidate's name. They can do those courses or credits, part of it's from anywhere. They all will be accumulated and banked. Like we deposit the money different point of time in bank. Same way credits are banked, and once they accumulate those one, and then the students or the candidate will get the degree. So it is going to be a network of institutions. Many institutions one can get connect and get the best of the best. For example, people say, so those particular elective or specialization, so and so institution is good, or somebody wants to do somewhere other part, even globally one can do. Those credits are transferred and deposited in one place, and they can be accounted for their degree.
Sir, it means these conventional titles of degrees, mechanical, electrical, I think these may be abolished then in coming days.
No, they are going to change. They will come in new avatars. They are not going to abolished. I don't like the word abolished, but engineering, civil, mechanical, they are going to come in new avatar. Because you see,
Okay.
Specialization, we went to too much specialization. From specialization, we are marching towards generalistic. For example, it is a T-learning. T-learning means you will be having specialization in one area, but you also know many areas. You will be having a knowledge. It is called as a T-learning. So you should be having moral education. You will be having a little bit of other engineering also, but your specialization may be in one or two, and all other you will be having a generalistic knowledge, and this is how you are going to broaden your horizon, and you are going to look into the things from multiple perspective.
May I, sir?
Yeah.
May I, sir? Good afternoon. Very good afternoon, sir. I am Santanu Basu from Calcutta University of Technology, Kolkata, sir.
Yeah.
Nice session and very value given to me. But thing is that one question arises from my side. That
Yeah,
is,
please.
sir, suppose under NEP, this ABC has been adopted and that is going to start and so on. After the changes in curriculum, suppose 10 years, every 5 years, now in the last time AICT has changed the curriculum in 2018. So now that curriculum changes, gaps are getting shorter. So if one passed the course and certain years of studies, 4-year total course, he has a 4-year total program, sorry, and the course of second year he left and comes back to after 10 years when the curriculum has changed. So how this means conversion factors and numbers, credit marks, is there any idea that anything drafted as drafting is done, that how it could be means they incorporated after 10 years after from now or 15 years after, what kind of things, how this means proportionality could indexing is there that could be, could you please means
Yeah, Professor Basu, thank you very much. Your question, what you said, anything you do, it is not open-ended. It is not infinite. 50 years down the line, I will come back, I will do my course and I will get my degree. It is not like that. Today, there is a rigidity. You have to do this. Now the flexibility is built in the program. So instead of, engineering, if you fail or whatever it is, instead of 5 years, it may be, somebody can go and come back. Some more time is going to be, some range is going to be provided. Within the range, they have to complete. It is not open-ended. And the second one, what you said is curriculum 2018. I was the chairman of the model curriculum for management, and somebody from IIT Bombay, I think he was heading the engineering curriculum. It was released in 2018, but that is a model curriculum. Model curriculum means it is a standard one. Each institution, with reference to your vision and mission and branches of engineering, you can always play with them and you can modify, you can use it. It is not that as it is model to be used, because every institution can customize that model curriculum. You can build your uniqueness and USP. And probably we have 3,000 and odd engineering institutions, so many curriculum you can make using one model curriculum. So that flexibility is always there. And whatever the changes are happening, you said, earlier 5 year, 10 year, sometimes people say 15 year, we are not revised the curriculum in university. Those days are going to disappear, because lifelong learning, perpetual learning is the only way. And those who don't revise, they automatically disappear from the planet. They don't have any survival, way. So change is the only way, and speed up change. Those who go with the speed of change, they are going to lead, and those who don't go along with the speed of change, they automatically disappear. This is a correction here. Quality will remain, and the non-quality automatically they disappear. And that is how NEP, there are only 3 kinds of institution, Meru, Multidisciplinary Education and Research University. One is Meru. Second one is a comprehensive teaching university. Third one is a degree granting colleges. The smallest one is a degree granting college, and there the population of the student strength has to be 3,000. Means affiliated colleges are going to disappear. So many changes are going to happen, and that is how I say it is a correction year, for only quality will remain. And that is how the big vision of Vishwa Guru and positioning India in education sector at the globe, and all those direction we are working today. And the change, along with the change, a curriculum change, it is not now AICT did after 2011 to maybe 18, 7 year. Probably it is not going to be 7 year, probably it may be in 7 months, and every term, every department has to revise the curriculum along with the corporate world, and there is going to be industry advisory body for every civil, mech, electrical, all those engineering branches. They align, keep on aligning every semester, and it is going to be revised. Minor revision happens every time, and major revision may happen instead of 7 years, it may happen a year or 2. So like that, the change is going to happen very fast, and it is like a flowing water. Same water you can't touch the second time. So that is going to happen, Basu Saab, in our curriculum. Same curriculum, next time you come to your college, you will not be having the same curriculum. It is something new, because world has changed.
Yes,
so
yes, sir.
The curriculum is also same speed. It is going to change like a flowing water.
Yes, yes, sir. And my question
Those who
is,
don't do, their product are going to be obsolete.
the thing is that my question is that point, when he will come back, the curriculum has changed. So that previous credit and the new credit what is the combination formula or conversion formula for him or her to means adjust? Could it
I
could
think
anything
Professor,
that
I understood. Professor Basu, there are 9 task forces have been appointed by, government, Ministry of Education, and every task force is working on that. Exact formula details, probably it is a function of time. All those details will come.
Okay, thank you,
Because
sir.
after
Thank you, sir.
studying,
So enough.
it is in the roadmap is being prepared,
Okay.
and and these are all going to visible and transparent. They are going to come, and anything you bring new, there are always correction, recorrection, and any SOP you bring, operational standard will take time. Correction, recorrection, and automatical standardization
ठीक है,
happen.
मुझे पता है,
Oh,
याद है, मैं
thank you,
कॉलेज
thank you.
पहुंचूंगा अभी।
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
हाँ, बट आप वहीं पे रहिए, मैं और मैडम पहुंचेंगे वहाँ। हम लोग एक FDP में लगे हुए हैं।
Okay, Professor Shanghai,
We'll meet. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Chawla
Yes, sir.
Saab, any other question, or we can close now?
We can, sir.
Madam.
We can, sir. We are
Yeah,
very much
because
thankful to
IK
you,
Bhatt
sir.
Saab, हमारा mentor sir जो है, sir is waiting for me, because there is a lunch. They all are waiting for me.
Oh,
That is
sir,
why
oh,
I'm sorry. Otherwise, I would have
Okay.
taken some more.
Thank you.
No, sir. Please
Thank you,
have your
thank you.
lunch, sir. Please
Yeah.
have your lunch. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank
We
you,
had a
sir.
very nice
Thank you,
time,
sir.
and we hope that some other time also we'll be able to hear you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Chawla Saab, and thanks, Singhai Saab, and all the participants. Thank you very much for patience listening, and wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Have a nice
Namaskar.
day.